Hi, this is Sarah Mikesell with the Cattle Site, and today we're here with Dr. Spencer Wolter. He is a beef veterinarian with the Minton Veterinary Services, which is a partner with 4-Star Veterinary Service. So thanks for being with me today, Spencer.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Very good. And today, Spencer and I are in Celina, Ohio, at the Beef on Dairy Cattle Producer Summit put on by 4-Star Veterinary Service. So thanks again. I really appreciate your time today. And you are fresh off the stage. So, and just talked about injection site lesions. Tell me a little bit about your talk.
Yeah, we're really excited to give it. We partnered with Merck Animal Health to do it. Anytime we give antibiotics or vaccines, right, they're imperative for the calf's health, right? But what we often forget is that it's still a foreign material, right? It's not something that's meant to be in the calf's body. And it was awesome to hear as soon as I got off stage how a little shocking it was to see. Thankfully, all of you won't see them. They're pretty graphic.
That was my comment. That was kind of disgusting. So
yeah, because you can, even with it given at the appropriate location and amount, you can still have a reaction to it, right? And that can snowball into a bunch of different problems. So if we do it wrong, it's even worse. So I just want to make sure producers are aware of the repercussions of giving an antibiotic, in the wrong place.
Right. And you had said, when you said lesions, I thought you meant a little mark or something like that. These were not like that. These were significant dead meat, right? Dead muscle, dead tissue.
Dead muscle, absolutely. Right. And we did this on a 400-pound calf, right? Okay. And calves that go, to the packer to supply beef for the U.S. and the world, those are 1,500-pound animals. Right. So that would mean even more, volume and even a bigger lesion. Packers have published papers with like baseball to softball size lesions, right? Because again, any antibiotic, it's a fluid, but it's not what the calf, is used to. So there's going to be a reaction. So making sure producers are as educated as possible to help minimize those reactions.
Right. And some of the sites, to be fair, were off-label, right?
Yes, absolutely. And that's where it's so easy, if I have a sick calf as a producer, there's emotional involvement and you want to get an antibiotic and sometimes multiple antibiotics in that calf as quickly as possible, right? Needle length is what dictates where we're placing it, Is it going right under the skin or is it going in the muscle? Mm-hmm. But when we're in a frenzy, right, because we want to help that calf, we might grab the wrong tool and there's repercussions to that. So just really trying to spread awareness of that to make sure, the producers aren't trying to do the wrong thing by the calf, right? They don't want to see these lesions, but it's you don't know what you don't know, right? So we're just trying to maybe, take back that curtain to be like, all your dedication of like reading the label and doing it appropriately is for these reasons.
Right. It pays off in the end to really do it right and to take the time to do it right.
Yeah, exactly. And one of my points is really having a good relationship with your veterinarian, because there's, injectables that are essentially like aspirin, right? To reduce pain, suffering, inflammation. And then we might need an antibiotic. And then everyone, including us, needs vaccines, right? So that ends up being a lot of pokes, right? And we only really give them in a very tiny triangle on the neck. So how do we make sure that we are if we can give oral fluids or an oral pain med, right? Like how do we spread out the route of administration essentially?
Very good. And I guess, what does the damage mean for the animal and the producer, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked a little bit about that. But.
Yeah. So to bring that into focus a little bit more is anytime there's a reaction, like what you saw in some of those pictures, it's just like us when we scrape our knee right on the ground, a scab and a scar is going to form, right? And a scar, just to get a little sciencey with it, there's no blood vessels really through that as a generalization, right? So if we are given a ton of injections and then say later on we need to give an antibiotic or a vaccine, the body might not recognize it or the calf might not recognize it because they're given into scar tissue, right? There's no blood vessels there. There's no way for the calf to even see it. And then it's just going to abscess, unfortunately, which isn't great for the calf. And then the calf's not getting the benefit either of the vaccine or antibiotic.
Very good. And you've talked about this a little bit, but how can producers minimize the damage that they may unintentionally be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's have a great working relationship with your veterinarian, and if you are a family operation, have a lot of employees, make sure everyone's just trained and educated, right, on the amount per location, where in the body it's supposed to be given, and then it could be a whole nother talk. But if we give one antibiotic today, give it time to work. Don't just jump on board and start throwing everything at the calf, right? They're doing it out of genuine care and compassion for the calf, but just making sure that we know everything about the antibiotic. Yeah.
Very good. And what's the one thing producers should remember from your talk?
Yeah. Any injection you give is going to leave some sort of mark, and it potentially could be there for months, right? It's going to leave a lasting mark if it's given incorrectly.
Good. Excellent. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time today.
No, it's been awesome. Thanks.
This is Sarah Mikesell with the Cattle Site.